Good morning, it's December 14th, and this is your daily brief in climate change. Here's everything you need to know. The recently concluded COP28 conference in Dubai resulted in a historic agreement, the UAE Consensus, with over 130 countries committing to tripling renewable energy capacity by 2030 and aiming for net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. UAE President Sultan Al Jaber's efforts led over 50 companies to commit to reducing emissions. There are concerns about the inclusion of natural gas as a transition fuel and the lack of clear financing for developing countries. Critics argue the agreement contains loopholes and lacks funding for alternative energy sources and adaptation. The agreement is seen as a significant step in addressing the climate crisis and emphasizes the need for urgent action to reduce carbon emissions and limit global temperature rises. The next major discussions on climate finance will take place at COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan. The agreement is not legally binding, but encourages countries to create stronger climate action plans by 2025. The success of the deal depends on scaling up clean, renewable energy and reducing the use of coal, oil, and gas. World leaders are struggling to address the escalating climate crisis as global temperatures approach the 1.5 degrees Celsius target set in the Paris Climate Agreement. Oil production expansion and record emissions have accelerated global heating beyond 1.4 degrees C above pre-industrial levels, nearing the 1.5 degrees C target faster than expected. Reaching the 1.5 degrees C target could result in more frequent and severe storms, flooding, and drought, disproportionately impacting climate-vulnerable populations in countries with weak healthcare systems and poor economies. The health of the Amazon rainforest, other tropical forests, and oceans is at risk, with potential tipping points, depletion of oxygen, acidification, and impact on fisheries and coral reefs. Rising sea levels and melting ice caps, including the potential collapse of a major Antarctic glacier, pose threats to human survival. The urgency to stay within the 1.5 degree C warming limit is crucial to mitigate the worst impacts of climate change, especially for small island states already experiencing the consequences. The Arctic experienced its warmest summer on record in 2023, warming twice as fast as the global average. The rapid warming has led to extreme weather events with global impacts and contributed to rising sea levels due to loss of land ice in Greenland. Melting permafrost is releasing large amounts of carbon dioxide and causing Arctic greening. Indigenous communities in the Arctic are facing disruptions to their lives and livelihoods due to climate change. Efforts are being made to restore damaged landscapes, such as reindeer habitat in Finland. The 2023 Arctic Report Card released by NOAA highlights the urgent need to address climate change as ongoing carbon emissions drive dramatic changes in the Arctic. The report emphasizes the importance of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and building climate resilience. Coastal river deltas, home to approximately 500 million people, are under threat due to rising sea levels and land subsidence. These conditions result in relative sea level rise, causing salinization, flooding, and potential loss of entire coastal areas. Deltas such as the Mekong, Krishna, and Godavari are experiencing land subsidence faster than sea level rise due to high population density and intensive agriculture. Urban development and groundwater extraction for irrigation accelerate the sinking of densely populated deltas like the Nile, Ganges, and Pearl. Ineffective governance and inadequate adaptation capacity intensify the risks in delta regions, particularly in countries with low per capita GDP like Myanmar and African deltas. Developing countries need substantial funding for necessary adaptation measures, including climate change limitation, groundwater and fossil fuel extraction regulation. Resilient city design, adaptive agricultural practices, and inclusive solutions involving local communities are recommended. Seawalls should be considered as a last resort. International support and cooperation are critical to address these issues. Climate change exacerbates infectious disease outbreaks. A recent study found 58% of such diseases can be worsened by climate-related hazards. The Climate Amplified Diseases and Epidemics Consortium highlights the impact of climate change on infectious diseases. Rising temperatures and altered precipitation patterns enhance conditions for disease vectors like mosquitoes. Extreme weather events and climate-driven migration can trigger disease outbreaks. Vulnerable communities in developing countries are disproportionately affected. These communities should be prioritized in healthcare and disaster preparedness measures. Progress made during the COVID-19 pandemic, like new epidemiological tools and global collaboration, can be used to combat these issues. This has been your daily brief in climate change. To read more about these stories, follow the links in the episode bio. You can also subscribe to these updates at www.brief.news. And for more daily podcasts about the topics you love, visit www.brief.news/podcasts. Tune in tomorrow. We'll be back with everything you need to know.